I'm Brittany Elizabeth, and this is How to Be in Love. How to Be in Love is a series where we talk to people in happy, healthy relationships to find out just how they got here and what they do to keep their love alive. My hope is that witnessing examples of the good, the bad, and the beautiful of sharing a life with someone else will help myself and each of you to see to believe that we can have this too, and that it's never too late to learn how. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of How to Be in Love. I have two lovely people here today, and I am going to jump right in and let them introduce themselves. So, if you would, in whatever order, tell me your name and your pronouns.
Well, I'm Chris, and my pronouns are they, them, he, his.
I'm Sydney, and my pronouns are she, her.
Lovely. And can you tell me your age range, be it 20s, 40s, so on?
40s.
40s.
All right. Is there a thing for 40s? Like, there's dirty 30s. What's 40s?
Just old.
No fucks 40.
Yeah, it is no fucks 40.
It's no fucks 40.
Yeah, we don't have any time for anything. We can curse here.
Yeah, you can curse here. Do you?
Okay.
Would you consider yourselves introverted or extroverted?
I used to be extroverted, but I'm definitely introverted.
I would say I'm both.
Okay, like ambiverted?
I didn't know there was a word for that.
Oh, yeah.
But yes. Yeah, I like other people's energy, but I can totally occupy myself for days and days.
Same. Especially with COVID. I think a lot of people have really learned to self everything a lot better.
Right.
So could you both tell me, please, your love language, if you know it?
I think I'm words of affirmation.
Good job.
Wow.
What's that about?
You're gonna hear this whole podcast of Sydney just coming for me.
I liked it. It was a little bit punny, though.
Yeah, it was messed up. Well, what's your love language?
Probably acts of service.
Yes, absolutely. That is correct.
I didn't know that it was a quiz show.
Well, you like a good yes, like correct or incorrect.
I do.
Yeah,
I do. It's the professor in me.
Mm-hmm.
What are your astrological signs?
Leo.
We're both Leos.
Are you really?
Yeah.
How many days apart are your birthdays?
Oh.
Chris is an early Leo, so barely counts.
Shade.
At the end of July, and I am a mid Leo, so I'm the 15th. Chris is the 24th.
First off,
I mean, you're practically a cuspy.
no.
Oh, but you are.
But I am like super Leo though.
You are.
Then correct yourself.
All right. Well, let's get on into it. Can you both tell me a little bit about your caregivers and your childhood dynamic?
I grew up in a very matriarchal family. Like the people my family were like really surrounded around were the women and the family, and being trans, like that's where I spent my time, is like in the kitchen in my grandparents' house. It was my mom, my aunts, my grandmother, and like me. And I learned early how powerful women are, because like they controlled their households. They were, my mom got divorced, so it was just her and she did everything. And my grandmother ran her household, even though she never worked or learned how to drive. She was very much the person in control in that house.
Wow.
So like, yeah, that was my childhood.
Yeah, I kind of had two distinct childhoods. In my home, I think I have a very complicated relationship with my parents. My father kind of caregives by giving gifts and presents, and my mother is pretty neglectful, I would say. But I also grew up at my grandmother's house, where I very much had unconditional love, and I was very spoiled here. So.
Can you tell me how you met and how long you have been together?
Well, we officially met at a photo shoot Yeah, Chris was the photographer for Chocolate City Burlesque and Cabaret. And I was going to be part of the troupe, but then I fled to Hawaii. And we met at that photo shoot. But I think Chris had seen me earlier, but we had not met.
Yeah. The first time I saw Sydney, she was performing at this place in DC. I was there with my roommates because one of my roommates was performing in the show as well. And I remember seeing her come out in like this chicken costume. And it was like her act. It was to Easy Like Sunday Morning. And she comes out in this chicken costume. And I'm like, what is this? I've seen a lot of burlesque, but I've never seen this. And like, she is a chicken, but then she's also an egg, and she lays an egg and then she pops the egg. I mean, it's very meta. The more I think about it,
it's meta.
It's very, but I was just like, whoever that is, I need to know who that person was. And I was completely infatuated at that moment. And when I officially met you at that photo shoot and I heard it was like Dr. Ginger Snaps, which is Sydney's stage name, was going to be there, I literally didn't know what to do with myself because I just started dating. We had just started our relationship, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this person who I'm completely like, wow. And then we didn't see each other for a long time after that.
Yeah, for a very long time.
Yeah, and at some point I saw on Facebook that you were single, so I shot my shot. I remember I could not hit the message button fast enough. And I asked her out on a date to go to the African American Museum that hadn't yet been built.
Wasn't built, wasn't open.
Nothing.
I wasn't in the state.
You were, yeah, she was like in Chicago.
That's determination.
Yeah, it was. Absolutely. And, you know, I think it was a little bit after that we finally started talking, and then we hung out for the first time, and then we just never separated from there.
So do you know how much time passed between that chicken costume and your first date?
About 2 years.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. You knew you had your eye on the prize.
Mm-hmm.
Chris was in it for the long game.
Yeah. And I'm normally not like that, but when you know, you know.
That's what they say. Do you feel that you were happy with your life at the time that you met each other?
I wasn't. I was in a really crazy transitional point in my life.
There were things that I was happy about. Mm-hmm. When we met, I was very much in a transitional point too. I just left my job and I was living back in my parents' house, and I was in an unstable relationship and all of that. When we got together, I was had left my home and looking for some place to live, and had just gotten out of the unstable relationship. So it was both like this very like unstable, weird time.
Yeah, same.
Gotcha. Chris, do you feel comfortable going into any detail about what made the time unstable for you?
There was a good stretch of time when I gotten out of like a very long relationship. I was with someone for like, I think we were together for like 8 years, and I moved to DC, and I was there for 2 or 3 years in DC. And so I was playing the field for a while. I mean, it was fun, but it was like, I was a mess, you know, and I was just like kind of trying to get my footing again and figuring out what my next moves were. Cause like I lived in this house with like, you know, 2 other mask of center people that were single. I mean, we were all like in our late 30s, but we still called it, looked like a frat house. Like we were all kind of like a mess then. By the time Sydney and I actually like got together, I had ended up moving back home with my mom, and like, you know, things are just kind of all over the place. And I think I was just ready for that to stop, you know.
Thank you for sharing that.
Oh, you're welcome.
When and why did your feelings for each other grow deeper?
It was pretty quick. It was like within the first month. Chris was really legitimately supposed to be just like a fuckboy. My plan was I was coming back to Maryland to visit. We would go out on a date. We'd hang out, whatever for a minute. And then I would go back and continue with whatever my life was doing. But yeah, everything in the universe ended up colliding so that I had to stay in Maryland. Upon staying in Maryland, I just saw Chris more and more until eventually Chris wasn't really allowed to leave my house.
Ooh.
Yeah, so in other words, she trapped me and made me her houseboy.
That part is correct. Yes.
I love that for you.
And that is what I do. That is
And
my
Chris has
current
gotten
job.
better and better at it over the course of the years.
I actually don't know how to respond to that because that sounds like one of those like, I fixed my man, you know. You did. You got me together, I guess. The shirt I'm wearing is because I would not have a shirt if it was not for her.
I mean, you would have a shirt, but not that one. I think I bought that one.
You did. You've bought most of my clothes.
You're each playing really important roles here in keeping the relationship functioning.
Well, what do we say? Together, we make about 7/8 of a functioning adult.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, we're totally
We
not have it
do
together.
not quite make one functioning adult
No,
together,
we
but
do
we
not.
make close to
We're
one.
close. Yeah. I mean, I know enough to like when I eat the whole bag of Cheetos to put the empty bag in the garbage.
Okay. That's a start.
That's where we are. I think
Yeah,
collectively
that's
that's a good
solid.
metaphor for our life.
We have a recycling bin.
We do.
Okay. What percentage of time would you say you spend together? And are you happy with that amount of time?
I mean, no, that's a valid question even now because our house is fairly big. So we actually don't hang out all day.
No.
You know, I'm always kind of running around and I run all the errands. I go to the grocery store and do the laundry and all that stuff. So sometimes I'm just not home. And then sometimes we just hang out in different rooms, you know, because we don't necessarily watch the same TV. So I would say before COVID, it was a little different because I was working in a bar. So I was always gone.
Yeah.
And we didn't have any really great routine about spending time together. It was
No.
actually really difficult for us. Thank God for couples therapy because that was really a tough time for us.
Yeah, most definitely.
Now we have, I think this is the strongest our relationship has ever been. Like we spend intentional time together. Like we eat dinner together. And well, now that you're back at work, we don't eat breakfast together as much as we used to, but we were having breakfast every day. And, but we work on a project together. And Sydney does my podcast show in the mornings on Wednesday. So we have a lot of intentional time together. And I think that's been the best.
And then that's balanced with Chris being able to watch their Star Trek
Watch Star Trek and play video games.
and play video games, which I don't want to do.
Yeah.
And I watch my court shows and Dr. Phil, which Chris doesn't want to do.
God, it's just, I don't know how she watches it.
Court shows I get. I'm with you on the court shows.
Oh, I don't know what it is. It's people's problems. I'm into them.
I know. I like to watch them and just shake my head.
Yeah.
People's problems.
Could you each tell me your favorite thing about each other?
I have a lot of favorite things about Chris.
What's your favorite things about me?
I absolutely delight when I am in another room doing whatever I'm doing. It can be feeling miserable, and I hear Chris really laugh. Most of the time, I have no idea what Chris is laughing at. And sometimes I'll be like, what you laughing at? You know, yell from across the room. But that actually, like, really gives me a bright spot, even when I'm having really bad days.
That was the sweetest thing ever. I think what my favorite thing about Sydney is just how weird she is. I adore how genuine that is. Like those like quirky things that she does. There's something very authentic about a person who could just be themselves all the time, and I feel very honored to be able to experience those parts of her. Sometimes when we are in bed and getting ready to go to sleep, I'll ask her, I'm like, what's the weirdest thing you did this week?
And most of the time I don't know. I'm just living my life, but Chris finds it weird.
Some things you do are just completely bonkers, and I just absolutely live for it. It makes me laugh. I just adore like all those weird, quirky things.
Yeah, apparently I'm kooky.
Very kooky. I like it. give me somebody who's just completely Fruit Loops, all of it.
Do you have any examples you could share about the kookiness?
Oh, Lord. Oh,
gosh.
no.
You knew it was coming.
What is something that you've done that's just super weird? It's hard to describe because like I'll walk in the bedroom and she'll be like stretching because like in a weird way, and I'm like, what's happening in here? And she's like, I don't know, I got a weird cramp. And I'm like, but you've just been laying there. How did you get a cramp? It's just so weird.
I thought you were going to talk about anti-drug improv.
So when I do ask her what the weirdest thing she's done, she doesn't, because she doesn't recognize that some of the stuff that she does is just really weird. But she shared with me that when she was a kid, that she was a part of a improv group for anti-drugs, Just Say No.
Yeah.
What?
And we went around to like schools.
No, you
and-
traveled?
Yeah. We traveled and we did like, don't do drugs, don't drink improv.
And mind you,
Like,
Sydney is not
that-
that person. Like,
And that is like the nerdiest thing also that I've done, I think. It's like really, and I've done some nerdy things.
Yes.
But that is,
that's so
That's
good.
top tier.
Yeah.
yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
What is one thing about each other that it took you time to accept or get used to?
I would say Sydney's love language is like acts of service and gifts and things like that. It took a while for me to kind of get used to the fact that like the way that our love languages is kind of the way that we give love also. Sydney would give me gifts and try to like fix me and help me, and kind of like when I'm like going through like depression, things like that, I'm like, I don't want you to fix me. Like, I need you to, the best thing is to tell me that I'm great. I'm a Leo. Tell me I'm amazing. It took some getting used to also like get into the rhythm of what her love language was, because Sydney has those needs, and Sydney does not hide her needs. She's very vocal about what she needs all the time. I am not.
No,
She
you're not.
is.
It drives me nuts.
And that took a long time for me to, and not a long time, but it took me some time to kind of get used to understanding that when she says that she wants something, it actually means she wants that, and not that she's just saying it out of her ass like I would, so.
This makes me think about your upbringing, how you had a grandmother who really made sure your needs were met, and how that shaped how you are as an adult.
Oh yeah, that's very evident. Chris says I am a mini Rosa, who's my grandma.
Oh my God, they are the same person.
And we took care of my grandma for the 2 years before she passed away. And that's also how Chris and I got together. And so Chris was here while I was doing elder care for my grandma. So Chris very much got to know her very closely.
My favorite thing about your grandmother was every time you went downstairs and she was like, every time you come down here, you got a new dress on. And I'd be looking at her, I'm like, Grandma Rosa, I know you were the same damn person.
I mean, you've seen her closet.
Yes.
You still haven't cleaned them.
No, we have not, because she got a new dress all up and down them closets.
I could tell she was snazzy at your wedding when she was, shooting money into the air from a money gun.
Yeah, and that gold caftan was hers. That was from her collection. That was not mine. I actually took it from her and wore it.
Yeah, he did.
But that was her gold caftan.
What is one of your favorite memories together?
See, I'm not trying to be that guy and be like, our wedding. Our wedding was so much fun.
It was very fun.
It's a tie between when we would get stoned and sit on the couch and go on Facebook Live and eat weird snacks, and when we would go to like Golden Corral when we were stoned we were a good frequenter.
Your memories have a lot of drugs involved.
Well, because they were so funny. I mean, we'd gone to Golden Corral enough that they knew us when we got there. That's some of the funniest stuff that we've done.
I think some of the most fun I had was when we went to Seattle.
Oh, yeah, we did have a good time.
And we went to that karaoke. We just hung out with my friend Quentin, and we drank, but not a ton. But, drank a bit. And it was a very eclectic group of people.
Yeah, I mean, it was...
that you wouldn't expect, but
it was very Seattle.
made sense for Seattle.
It was an epic karaoke, though. Like, it was so impactful as a person, like, who I am, like, an event person that I am, that, like, when I was managing the Eagle, I tried to replicate that
Yeah.
karaoke. It was so good.
Could you tell us a little about your wedding?
You tell.
Our wedding was comprised of a lot of stoner jokes that we all put together into an event. That's
the best description of our
that was
wedding.
our wedding. And a lot of stoner ideas where we were like, hey, wouldn't it be really funny if we did this?
Yeah.
And then Chris made it happen. And so that is why our wedding was catered by Popeyes.
Mm-hmm.
That's why our save the date looked like a club flyer. That's why the invitation was that weird
picture.
The weird picture with the rose and
the lion, and then us in the whiskey glass or whatever it was.
With the whiskey glass, because we decided that would be classy.
Yeah.
Very classy.
And we use a scripted font. So
I mean, that's why we had a drag and burlesque show. That's why the music was what it was. It was just
weird. But you know what?
Stoner idea.
But you know what made the
idea.
wedding is that people went with it.
Yeah.
And not only that y'all go with it, the best part was that when we were the dress code is not basic. I did not expect what we got. One of my favorite parts of the wedding is so when we got back and we watched the videos that everyone made on the iPad, Be Les You and Bunny's video still makes me laugh to this day.
Me too. I secretly recorded it and watch it sometimes.
They were like, I don't know. You want to do it, Jake? Yes, do it, Jake. And they ran back and forth in the hall. It was like, what the hell? And then the fact we had y'all go get the Popeyes. Oh my God, it's so funny.
Bunny is my sister, for anyone who's listening, and her date to the wedding was a cardboard cutout of Obama.
Which we kept in the house for a very long time. We had that for years. It's only recently that we were like, all right, it's time.
It's like Obama was falling apart.
He was falling apart. He was bent in half in parts. The cats had scratched him up.
Yeah, poor Obama.
He went through the ringer.
That's a accurate description of his presidency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about a difficult situation that you went through together and overcame? And how did you get through it?
This past summer, I was hospitalized for a month. And I was on a ventilator. My care really wasn't great. It was neglectful, and I couldn't speak and couldn't breathe, and the whole thing.
I didn't hear your voice for almost 3 weeks.
Yeah. Chris just really stood up and was there every day, multiple times a day, was advocating for me, was yelling at doctors and trying to get my needs met. And then afterward, when, I needed a lot of in-home care, Chris was there just 24/7. All of my needs were just met. All I had to do was work on healing and work on getting better.
How are you now?
Now I'm great. I have my voice back. I don't have a trach anymore. I had a trach for a few months. Mm-hmm. I'm just kind of getting my lung capacity and physical strength back up.
Yeah, it was a rough fall, but I don't consider that a hardship on our relationship, because one thing that we have always excelled at is overcoming trauma. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're really good at it. We're really good at our teamwork dynamic. So, Sydney being sick, it was a very natural response for me to just take care of her. I don't consider it necessarily a difficult part in our relationship. It was hard to do because we had to get on a schedule and making sure we got to doctor's appointments, making sure her meds were good, and making sure she was safe, because she had trach in, so monitoring her coughing and all that stuff. There was a lot of that going on We also had our individual like traumas around that we processed through because we both have therapists and all that stuff. So we went to work. You know, we didn't fall apart. We went to work. I don't consider that hardship. I think it was an example of our excellence. I think the hardest thing that we went through is when we decided that we were going to open our marriage. That was one of the hardest parts of some like real work we've done for our relationship. It was a lot of trust that had to get built, figuring out how that looked for us. For me, especially, it was overcoming some guilt and learning how to show Sydney that she is my priority and always will be, and how to like kind of segment what being poly really is. That was hard.
Yeah, that was hard.
That was really hard for both of us, yeah.
For any listeners who are just becoming familiar with this term, could you explain in a nutshell what polyamory is for you?
Well, it's something different for everyone. I think there's somewhere in the universe of the internet this weird like graph of all these different
all different ways to be poly.
But really it's a form of open relationship, or some people think of being polyamorous as an individual lifestyle as far as like who you are as a person, being and having multiple relationships at the same time. I think for us, it's about having our core of a relationship, like our foundation. We have our primary relationship, and
so we practice hierarchical poly.
There you go.
I learned from the internet.
You did.
So where we have a primary and we're each other's primary, and then everyone else kind of falls below that in how that relationship works. We don't really know much about what the other person is doing except for what you need to know to be safe.
You know, I'm on testosterone, so I have a medical condition.
It is a medical condition.
And for anyone out there who is curious with that medical condition, all I can say is just look it up because it's serious. And
I don't get it.
That's all I gotta say.
I'm like, that's a lot.
What I love the most is that you've been able to navigate this as a couple and you're still together and stronger than ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. Like, we've definitely come on the other side of that. Like, I've never felt so secure in a relationship. There's just no doubt who the most important person is in your life. Like, of course I'm going to get up and make you breakfast if you want it. Of course I'm going to make your coffee the way you want it. Of course I'm going to pack your lunch for work. Like that. And everybody else who wants my time, I am not available until those things are done. And that's just, you know what I mean?
I mean, don't think Chris isn't a pain in the ass, because Chris is a pain in the ass.
I was really selling. You were
really selling, but I just want some clarity here. But I do humble brag about my coffee and my lunch and what I had for breakfast and my car being preheated. Oh. And we haven't sat down and had breakfast for a while, but for my first week back at in-person teaching, I got homemade corn muffins.
Oh my gosh. That's next level breakfast. I thought we were talking about Wheaties here.
No,
I had homemade corn muffins. They were delicious.
When we were like, having breakfast every day, I would go.
Oh, Chris would be like, "What do you want?" And I'd be like, "I want sausage and potatoes and eggs and an English muffin."
I was up there, I wake up at 6 a.m. and I try to like get the dishes done and kind of get things together. I go in the bedroom and she wakes up, she has a grand rising when she wakes up at like 8 o'clock in the morning. Oh, I've had great rest and I'm like already been doing stuff.
No, I'm grouchy. I wake up grouchy.
But I'll ask her, I'm like, what do you want for breakfast? And she's like, yeah, I want some potatoes and what kind of sausage do we have? And then so she'll have me in there like, 8 o'clock in the morning, peeling potatoes.
Chris makes really great home fries.
And
they're real good.
These damn home fries. I was like, why did I do this?
That's commitment. And Sydney, this high femme energy is goals right here. Seriously. How do you work through disagreements?
I mean, therapy.
That's what I was going to say, in therapy.
But we've graduated now. We now have therapy less than twice a month.
And that's because our therapist cancels on us. It has nothing to do with us actually being
our
better
therapist
people.
cancels on us all the time.
Our therapist moved away, so
but we did graduate from weekly.
We did graduate from weekly, yes.
To every other week.
Yeah.
And now it's even less than that because our therapist cancels on us all the time.
Yes.
But we've learned tools to have conversations before therapy.
We do. We try to go like, what do we have to talk about, before we have therapy? I think our arguments have happened less because I think we've been able to manage our expectations of each other. There are times where I just get like completely irritated and frustrated, mostly because I'm in a mood and like something happens. And then she ends up because I'm here, we're around each other so much. So it's like any kind of like anger I felt anytime lately has been because of just mood. Not necessarily because she drives me absolutely bonkers. Because she does, but it doesn't bother me.
When it's your mood, are you able to identify that and state it?
Yeah.
Chris has gotten much better at that. That was something that we really had to work on and work through because I really do need Chris to state their mood and not just say nothing or it's fine or I'm fine.
Y'all, she got me talking about my feelings.
So I'm just like, just state your mood. Like, I just need to, because you know anyway. I mean, I feel it anyway. I know anyway. Just say it.
I just feel like you're being nosy.
Can you identify that from childhood? Like, is there something coming from your past that makes you feel like it's nosy for people to inquire?
Yeah, I mean, that's totally how, like, my family operated. We were, I was not supposed to have a bad day. And one of the things that sticks out the most about my childhood around emotional expression was that, like, I come from a Black family that's like, you have nothing to be depressed about because you have, a roof over your head and food on your plate, And going through my gender identity and my body and all of the things that, like, you go through as a teenager and not having anyone to talk to about it because there's no one like you don't know anyone like you start repressing your feelings a lot, and you don't want to talk about it because nobody understands what you are going through. And that's definitely carried on to my adulthood because I still feel like the things that upset me and the things that like trigger any kind of negative emotion are things that no one else can understand, so I don't want to explain it because it'll just frustrate me. So yeah, that's definitely something that's come from Black households and don't go to therapy and this like or just like completely ignoring the fact that we're still people and we have a full range of emotions.
Good for you for learning to work through that and getting better at it. I know it's hard. I can totally relate to what you're saying, but good job. Good work.
Thank you.
What's your favorite thing to do together?
Sit around and talk shit about something.
Wow. And that is true. We hate watch a lot of television. Yeah.
And then it comes full circle back to enjoying it. It's very...
Oh, yeah.
Like The Masked Singer.
God, we hate that show. But, like, we watch it every week.
Every week, every season.
And, like, totally into it, committed.
But complain the whole time.
It's, like, the dumbest show ever.
But there's things we enjoyed. Like, we genuinely enjoy Supermarket Sweep.
We do. We get mad when people can't shop. Oh, my God. There's always somebody walking. I'm like, and Leslie Jones be like, why are you walking?
We're not a couple who'll be like, oh, we love hiking together. And
oh, God, that sounds miserable.
No, I don't want to do that.
No, I don't like bugs.
I like going to the beach with you.
Oh, yeah, that's fun. But we just sit there.
And then we just sit there and we shit talk on the beach.
Yeah, but I can't do that. I like going to the beach, but see, like, I got ADHD. Like, I need to move. The beach is fun for like 10, 15 minutes for me.
Wow.
And then I need to like be doing something. I bring a lot of activities.
Well, you got to have a cooler.
Yeah.
You got to have some music you can listen to.
Yeah.
You got to have maybe visuals. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
I'm the same. Like, I don't actually get in the water. I like to just sit there. but give it 15 minutes and I gotta go.
I think that's also that Chris isn't huge on getting in the water either, and I will stay in the water all day.
You will. You freak me out with it.
I will swim out super far and stay in the water all day.
I think every wave that comes is like Point Break.
Yeah, you literally scream, point break, we're going to die.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we're fine.
What's your favorite thing to do apart?
I'm really on a thrifting kick right now. And it's so funny. It's like either I score huge or I got nothing. And I like try to rotate my thrift stores. If I can, I hit up a couple in the same day. And I like it so much that I keep trying to get Chris to go, but I know that they'll be miserable and they do not like it.
I do not like shopping.
What are you looking for when you go thrift shopping?
Oh, whatever. But things for me. I found my unicorn item, which was a black leather motorcycle jacket.
Mm-hmm.
I've been looking for that for ages and ages, and I just found it last weekend.
Fantastic work. And
Yeah.
do you ever get anything for Chris?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah. If I see things.
Yeah.
You know, secretly, though, the sweatshirt with that I wore, the black sweatshirt with the tennis shoe on it, was initially meant for you.
Thanks.
But I gave up the orange zipper sweatshirt, which I also loved.
Yeah.
I gave you that one.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
You're really handling this well.
It is what it is. I mean, I love that she has thrifting, and I love seeing her being excited about something. Because like she'll go and she'll be going all day, and I'm like, I know she is in them racks, because she be in those racks. That's why I can't do it. She'll be in. I think didn't I do a Snapchat once a long time ago of us being in the thrift store, and we were in there for an hour plus, and I was just like,
because you gotta go through all the
we
racks.
are still in the thrift store. It was hilarious. We were there for so long.
You have to, because people move things are not in the right
and then
places.
she wouldn't let me get anything that I wanted. I would bring something to the cart, and you're like, you're not getting that.
Yeah, it was weird. It was.
You just want me to stand there. You don't want me to actually like thrift with you. You want me to stand next to you.
No, I want you to thrift with me. I just don't agree with the things that you choose.
Okay, so you someone else do the math. Because it is too complicated for me. I don't do trigonometry.
You want like weird electronics that are half broken and stuff.
Well, that's what I want. I want gadgets. You want me to thrift? That's me thrifting.
So, Chris, what's your thing? What do you like to do alone?
I like to just sit down, have a snack, and watch my shows. I want to watch, right now I'm in the Star Trek Discovery. I am so excited to just go get my little table, sit in my chair, put the heater on, I got my can of pineapple slices.
Now, this is grandparent vibes.
Yeah, I just want to be
yeah.
left alone for like a good 2 or 3 hours. Give me 2 or 3 episodes of this, and I'm in heaven.
For anyone who's out here who's single and looking to be in a healthy, happy relationship, is there any advice that you would offer them?
Therapy.
Therapy is great. I think now that I'm like in my 40s and actually like doing this thing where I'm meeting people or trying to meet people, so I'm kind of dating right now, and then it's a different journey than it used to be, and part of it is how self-aware I am, and so just being true to who you are, managing your expectations, and just showing up authentically and vulnerably.
Yeah, fair enough. So thank you so much for this. We're down to our last question, and I'm really, really excited for this one because this is your time for shameless self-promotion. I'd love to know what you're up to, where we can find you. If you have any events coming up, please share.
I do a morning show on Facebook Live on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays called Coffee with Chris at 10 a.m. Sydney's on the show with me on Wednesdays. We talk about mental health. We talk about race, gender, kind of like everything and how it relates to things that are currently going on in the world and the lessons that we learn from those things. We also, I guess I can make that announcement officially.
Sure.
So Sydney and I, along with a couple of other people, have bonded together to create a new nonprofit called the Lived Experience Storytellers Collective, which is going to be kind of an archive of storytelling projects from other people and things like that. That we're going to try to essentially build a library of oral storytelling that will be available for people for academic purposes and research and all that stuff. I think the biggest down the road, years from now, goal is to actually have like this physical space where people can come and like watch or listen to recorded histories of people's experiences. And being able to like write, academic journals and papers and do all the stuff that, Sydney's type people, academics do with that work and helping to develop a accurate written history of who we are. So that's what we're doing.
That is fantastic. If there's a website or a social media account, would you like to share that?
Right now it's coffeewithchrisshow.com is what we got. The nonprofit, we are just now getting incorporated, so we still have a ways to go, but that's what we're working on right now.
All right, fantastic. Thank you both so much for sharing and coming today with such vulnerability. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks.
Of course. And that's it for us. We'll see you next time. Bye.